Good morning, honorable members. I've been trying to check. I think we do constitute a quorum, so we can start the meeting. Just bear with me. I'm reinforcing. When I get a proper position, I will sit to show the face. Am I correct, Irene? And we can start, ne?
You can proceed, yes, Chair.
Yeah.
Okay. Can we take any apologies?
Good morning, Chair. Good morning, honorable members, colleagues, and our guest. Chair, we haven't received apologies from our side, unless maybe a reward was sent to him, but no apologies were received for this meeting. Thank you.
Even myself,
Okay.
I haven't received any apologies, Chair.
Chair?
Okay. Yes?
Chair, Honourable
That
Phillips has
honourable
asked me to, Honourable Phillips has asked me to convey her apologies, Chair.
Okay. No, that's okay. I'm not sure, but it's at the tail end of our sessions. Maybe that will be clarified. The procedure officers can help. Not that I'm negating the fact that it's openness on the side of the member, whether alternates when the actual members are present, the main members they need to tender an apology, but I'm saying it may be material now. I think, I don't know, can I be guided for future references? I think in the main members are the ones that are supposed to give apologies, except if the alternate is also not available. Will I be correct? It may not be relevant now.
You are correct, Chair. But I mean, yeah, no, you are correct, Chair. But in our case, it has been a practice that the alternates apologize or provide apologies as well, Chair, if they're unable to attend. So there's no harm in that, Chair.
Yes,
yeah, it's an internal thing. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. It's a good thing that must be encouraged. I agree. Honorable members, today we all met. We started the year 2019. We did our level best, and I'm sure we will all agree it was the toughest of times. We knew very little of each other. We knew probably little of the field where we were. We knew very little at times about the task at hand in terms of the official protocols of Parliament, but also we were quite aware of the magnitude of work. We have now come to the culmination of that work that we have started in 2019, and therefore what is gonna be presented to you is a general reflection on the work performance of the committee, but also on issues that we would seek to refer to the next administration to finalize, but also issues that the next administration will have to take attention of. So we are today going to be dealing mainly with the legacy report, and is it what you understand to have been the task at hand, but also what is it that we would want to arm first the relevant portfolio committee that will be dealing with the matters that we've been dealing with, but secondly, the areas that will require improvement, especially on the side of the support system of Parliament. The issues that relate to structural arrangements, for example, managing matters that are referred by the structures above, especially from the presiding officer. Everything, let me just say, it is open to say what lessons have we learned in the past 5 years, and what is it that we seek to, would appreciate to see proceeding going forward. So we are dealing with the legacy report that quality will be more like a handover to the next members that will assume the similar responsibility. I think if one way to say it, for us now, we have come to an end of what this committee has been tasked for. All what, if there's, we will only be dealing with one outstanding matter, I must say, which will relate to the committee before we finish, that will require our attendance. But all what I would say, this is a reflection of the conclusion of our work as a portfolio committee. Yes, in between, we might have been joined by new members, some members, but in the main, I think the core of this committee has been always there since the beginning. My last issue is that we were one of the unfortunate committees at the start of the administration or of the 6th Parliament, where we lost our Deputy Minister, Honorable Shengwa. So, I'm saying Shengwa. So, those are some of the hiccups that we have gone through. We have experienced something new that has never been experienced before, probably since 1919, the COVID-19 pandemic, which has made us lose many of our loved ones, but also many of our colleagues in Parliament. It may not have been in this committee. So there is a lot that I think we've been through. We have been thrown into the deep end as far as energy is concerned. Honorable members, I'm sure will recall when we started, especially with the energy portfolio committees, the entities were in a state of complete disarray. In fact, they might, if we may not be wrong to say, they were almost on a state of collapse. We did our level best, obviously not only us. There was a lot of cooperation amongst those who were responsible, including at the level of the executive. So I think there are many positive aspects, but there would have been areas where we would have loved to go and do more, and we may have been faced by certain challenges. So I think now we will be taking you through what we think is the core contents of the legacy report, and then we will want to get from yourselves what do you have with regards to what is proposed. So it's not final, but it's a work that has been done for your attention to approve, amend, add whatever that is possible, so that at the end of the day, the next committee will be able to understand what is it that has been done, and also what is it that remains a task that they will have to pursue. Without any further delays, Ari, should we then table just for the attention of the committee, the agenda? Yes, as you say, honorable members, we look in consideration of. No, I think let's start with the legacy report, and then we'll go to the minutes. Yeah, we'll deal with the minutes. Yeah, we will be dealing with the legacy report, and then we will deal with the outstanding sets of minutes. And I think that will be the end, or we'll make announcements. I think there's one item left to do. We'll make announcements about the next meeting. With your permission, honorable members, can I ask Ari or Ayanda? I don't know how you have arranged it. Ayanda, Ari, Sifu, the three of you, but I assume it will be the committee secretariat that will be taking us through. Can I give it to you, secretariat?
Thank you, Chair. The report was sent to members yesterday evening, Chair. We apologize for that. I had some issues with my system, but that's no excuse. We've actually divided the work amongst us four, including Mashudu, Chair. So Sivu will take us through the first part. I will, project the document, but each one knows where they will be talking from, Chair, from the document. So yeah, so Sivu will start us off, Chair. Thank you, Chair.
Good morning, honorable members.
Sivu.
Okay. All right. Good morning, honorable members and colleagues. I'll be taking you through the legacy report, the first part of it, which is, you'd call it executive summary or high-level summary of the work of the committee during the sixth parliament. Number one, just summarizes the areas of focus of the committee, but mainly looking at the policies that the committee looked at in terms of implementing the work that it implemented during this term, which is the NDP and the IRP, amongst other policies. But then 1.1 details the work that the committee did under each heading that you'd see here, which is, for example, implementation of the IRP 2019. So this section talks about the work that the committee has done under the IRP 2019 during this term. Ari, you're fast. Are we still on IRP on 1.1? Yes. Yeah, it's about the IRP progress that has been made in respect of implementation of the IRP during the term under review, and also the work that the committee has done in ensuring that the IRP 2019 is implemented. You can go down, Ari. And then the last sentence in this section just highlights that there is IRP 2019 that is currently out for review and is undergoing public consultation. It's being highlighted here for the need, so that to indicate that there's a need for the next parliament to follow up or to monitor the IRP 2023. And then 1.2 on nuclear, the committee has done as well some work, or a lot of work around the nuclear program, but looking at the extension of the Quebec nuclear power station for the next 20 years, as well as the new nuclear build program as proposed as a decision 8 of the IRP, the one about the 2,500 megawatts of nuclear that needs to come online at some point. Determination for that has been issued. So this part is just highlighting what the committee has done on around nuclear, and then indicating at the end the need for the next parliament to monitor the Quebec extension program. Also looking, because we've also highlighted the challenges that are encountered there that would have an impact on the extension of the Quebec nuclear power station. And then 1.3, Ari. And then on 1.3, we're just indicating the work that the committee has done around the just energy transition, and as espoused in the NDP, in the Chapter 5 of the NDP, the meetings that the committee held in respect of the just energy transition. So this section summarizes that work that the committee has done on that. And then 1.4, it's legislation again. It summarizes this section, the work that the committee has done around legislation. We received 5 pieces of legislation, namely the Gas Amendment Bill, the Upstream Petroleum Resources Development Bill, the Nuclear Regulator Amendment Bill, as well as the Independent Electricity Market Operator Bill, which was a private member's bill introduced by a member of the Democratic Alliance. So this section is just about that. Go down, Ari. Then it continues to summarize what happened in each bill, the process that we followed in each bill until the end. And then what is being, you can stay on MPRDA, Ari. Up, yeah. And then what we're highlighting here is just the key piece of legislation that was not reviewed or tabled in Parliament is the MPRDA. There are a number of gaps in the MPRDA. Members would recall issues around the mining charter and the need for some of the provisions to be factored into the law or the mining charter itself. To be, as it stands now, it was declared as not enforceable. So there are issues around the mining charter and the MPRDA. There was an MPRDA summit that was held. There's some work that is being done in terms of reviewing the MPRDA. But one would assume that it has not been reviewed because Chapter 5 of the MPRDA dealt with the upstream. So I assume that one cannot review or amend the MPRDA before we had finalized the upstream bill. So the next Parliament would have to then, the next administration would have to look into that, ensuring that there is a review of this piece of legislation, which is very important for the sector. Move on, Ari. And then the committee did monitor, as per the NDP, the electrification program, the integrated national electrification program. So the committee looked into this. Yeah, there isn't much there to say. And then we move on to 1.6 area, and then this summarizes the work that the committee has done around the fuel prices. Members would recall that we had stakeholder engagement, and proposals were made, recommendations were made. Some achievements. There were some achievements where the National Treasury did review the structure of the fuel price, and but however, those were temporary measures. There's more work that still needs to be done with regards to fuel prices. That will fall over into the next Parliament as well. Next, Ari. And then this 1.7 summarizes the work of the committee in respect of illegal mining. A lot of work has been done here by the committee. Public hearings were conducted. Recommendations were made, of which some of them were responded to, and there has been positive response from government in terms of illegal mining. Various structures were formed to deal with the issue. And there was also, during this term, artisanal and small-scale mining policy was also published, which requires the monitoring of the implementation of it by the next Parliament. Move on, Ari. And then 1.8 is the work that a summary of the work that the committee has done around the implementation of the solar water heater program. When the committee started, members would recall it was a messy program, but a lot of work has been done in terms of oversights. And I think what is outstanding now for this committee, from this committee, is an investigation was done by the National Treasury, or what they called forensic investigation on the solar water program. It was done by the KPMG. The outcomes of the report were not presented to the committee, so this will fall over as well to the next Parliament. Next, Ari. And then this just summarizes the oversights that the committee conducted. When you started, we went to the Lily mine. We did the Lily Mine oversight. We had issues. We had from the various stakeholders what the issues were, and there were two judgments this year in respect of the Lily Mine tragedy, which the next committee would have to monitor and follow up on those judgments. And then in terms of state-owned entities, the committee did a lot of oversight visits as well. And as Chair indicated in the introduction, there were lots of problems, particularly with the CEF group, Petro SA, as well as NEXA. Those entities were, Petro SA and NEXA, were at the verge of collapse, as Chair said. But huge improvement has been seen, particularly with NEXA, where it improved from losses to profit. CEF and Petro SA still remains a problem. That the next committee the next parliament should focus on. There is improvement at CEF, but a lot still needs to be done, especially with Petro SA. And then we did oversight on the Soldier program, as I've explained before. As well on nuclear, we did oversights. So we did joint oversight meetings with Portfolio Committee on Public Enterprises, but a lot there still needs to be done because there's lots of delays at the Kobe Power Station, which will impact on the long-term operation program of the power station. Illegal mining, I think I've alluded to it as well above, that we've done a lot of oversight visits on illegal mining, and positive results have been seen. Then we did the Gasfontein oversight visit, where tailings dam burst, resulting in a number of people being affected. We visited there, but what was found there, what was key for the committee there was that we found that the MPRDA does not empower the Department of Energy to regulate tailings. So that was a key finding there, and the need for reviewing MPRDA even became more urgent at the time, because tailings dam must be regulated by the MPRDA as they were regulated before the amendment in 2002. And then number 10, study tours. Committee went to UK, learned about just energy transition and many other things. But the issue there that is being highlighted is the fact that only 5 members of the committee attended the public hearings, and this disadvantaged the remaining members of the committee to equally empower themselves on areas of key work of the committee. So we're highlighting this. It comes also as well as a recommendation for Parliament to consider not to do such things in the future. Number 11, social and labor plans. This is a summary of what the committee has done in respect of the social and labor plans, as well as around licensing. The message that we're leaving here is that from a licensing perspective, the cadastral system, finally a service provider has been appointed for the design, implementation, and maintenance of the cadastral system. This needs to be monitored again by the next parliament. So, because as members know, there's lots of issues in respect of the licensing, in licensing department generally, in the unit in the department. On social and labor plans, we've had briefings from Makua, and committee monitored social and labor plans through briefings from the department. We can move on, Ari. Then number 12 is just a summary of the budgetary process. As members would know, the PCMRE process that we do every October, where we deal with the committee, where we deal with the department and the entities on the budget, as well as the non-financial performance plan, as well as in April when we do the strategic plan. So this part is just explaining that the committee did this work as required, as per the requirement of the Money Bills Amendment Act. Okay, and then number 2, it's key challenges. I'll just rate the key challenges. There were delays in bills being introduced and the time required. Okay, delays in bills introduced and the time required from the committee to process the bills, particularly the Electricity Regulation Amendment Bill. This is a general challenge, but we thought it's important to highlight a practical example of the MPRD, of the ERA bill, which we had to do because it was referred as a priority bill. So we had to drop everything and some key important items that were in the prompt of the committee had to fall off. Number 2, the quality of introduced legislation not being up to standard. For instance, the gas amendment bill had to be withdrawn from Parliament when the committee was about to deliberate on the bill. Poor support provided to the committee when conducting public hearings. The committee had to postpone 3 of its public hearings on the ERA bill due to education and mobilization that was not provided by the relevant parliamentary units. This resulted in fruitless and wasteful expenditure being incurred. And sadly, when conducting public hearings on the upstream petroleum dividend bill, 4 people died when the taxi that was transporting them to the public hearings had an accident. The number, we would have to confirm the number whether it's 5 or 4 of that incident. And then in processing of the bills, the Parliamentary Legal Service Unit is not adequately capacitated in terms of human resources. There were times when an assigned legal advisor would not attend committee meetings because he or she was assisting in another committee. This meant that the committee would rely on the services of a state law advisor. Parliament's time allocated for oversight during committee weeks is insufficient. This is more important for committees overseeing 2 sectors such as ours, which is mineral resources and energy. Ideally, this should be two weeks per quarter with no interruptions in terms of house sittings and caucuses. The next one, the number of entities that reports that the number of entities within the PCMRE. The committee oversees 11 entities. It is difficult to conduct oversight over all 11 entities for every budget vote and annual report cycle, as well as to monitor this each quarter. During the annual reporting period, the committee invited all entities to present their annual reports, with the exception of last year, where we invited selected, I think, 2 entities because we were busy with the bills. The committee invited all entities mostly to present their annual reports over 2 days. This is a lot and does not allow for effective and robust oversight over the entities. There needs to be a more systematic approach that is fairly consistent over a 5-year period. This could include creating groups of entities that are seen at a time. And then the next is parliamentary administration processes on oversights. Meetings, study tours, and public hearings are a challenge. Approval of political applications for the above-mentioned activities took long, and this impacted negatively on the work of the committee. This also impacted on units that do public education and mobilization, as they had to wait for the political approval before they could go to various provinces to conduct public education on the bills. At times, approval would be granted a week before the public hearings. This therefore put pressure on the aforementioned units, the Secretariat and the administration unit responsible for traveling arrangements. During this term, the committee was short-staffed. When the 6th administration started, the committee did not have a content advisor for energy and a researcher for mineral resources. Also, during this period, the content advisor for mineral resources resigned. This meant that the committee had only 1 person responsible for providing content support to the committee, which was the energy for research. The researcher for energy. Then the researcher for energy was appointed as a content advisor in 2022, and the researcher for mineral resources was finally appointed in February 2023. So as at the end of this administration, the committee remains with a vacant post of the energy researcher. The committee not having a full staff complement put too much pressure on the staff, and resulted in the committee not receiving the maximum support that it is entitled to. Next, Ari. Then the committee was also allocated 2 slots for its activities, which is Tuesdays and Fridays. Given that the committee deals with 2 important economic sectors, minerals and energy, the allocated time was insufficient for it to effectively execute its oversight mandate. And then linked to the above, the committee received a lot of correspondences, some of which the committee was not able to attend to due to the amount of work before it. There were also petitions referred to the committee, which it was able to attend to under extreme pressure. And then number 3, key areas of future work. So these are the areas that the next parliament would have to look at, as I alluded to above. To continue with robust oversight of illegal mining, including following up on the General Laws Amendment Bill, which is meant to address gaps in the law in respect of criminalizing acts of illegal mining. The next parliament must oversee the implementation of the artisanal and small-scale mining policy. It must monitor the implementation of the National Soil Data Program. This should include a briefing by the department on the findings of the forensic investigation conducted by KPMG, monitor the social and labor plans, and consider conducting investigative oversight on the implementation of the labor plans. Robust oversight of the state-owned entities under DMRE, especially those with historical challenges, such as the Central Energy Fund Group, in particular the subsidiary of CEF, which is Petro SA. Also a follow-up and monitoring of the measure of Petro SA, I-Gas and Strategic Fuel Fund. Ensure that critical pieces of legislation, such as the MPRDA, are reviewed and introduced to Parliament. Moreover, process the outstanding bills that were planned for table and processing in Parliament during the 6th administration, such as the Gas Amendment Bill, Mine Health and Safety Bill, Radioactive Waste Management Fund Bill, and the National Petroleum Company Bill. Ensure that challenges regarding the mining charter are addressed. There should be ongoing oversight on the Quebec Nuclear Power Station long-term operation project, as well as the new nuclear build program. The new parliament must monitor developments regarding the IRP 2023, including inviting the department to brief the committee on the IRP and after the public consultation process has been completed. Oversee implementation of the mining licensing system, the cadastral system that I referred to above, where the service provider has been appointed already, and monitor the licensing broadly in the mining and the energy sectors. Follow up on the 2 court judgments regarding the Lely mine, which I've also alluded to earlier. Oversee and monitor the integrated national electrification program. And then in terms of the recommendation for the 7th Parliament is that the 7th Parliament must consider, can you go up again? Yeah, the 7th Parliament should consider, and then I will just read. So bear in mind that each recommendation, then it must be read together with opening line. The 7th Parliament should consider encouraging joint meetings between the relevant portfolio and select committees to brief on common matters and to avoid duplication of presentations such as the consideration of international agreements and legislation that both committees must consider. The 7th Parliament must consider facilitating improved coordination of committees dealing with cross-cutting matters to ensure effective oversight. This should require the committees, this would require that committees are aware of how their portfolios affect national objectives or priorities. The 7th Parliament should consider realigning the allocation of resources to reflect the workload of specific committees. This talks to the need for the committees to have full complement of the support staff. This speaks to the issue of the fact that the committee was short-staffed during this period. ensuring that the Parliamentary Legal Services and Parliamentary Public Education Unit are fully capacitated for effective and efficient processing of legislation by the committees. Ensure that the turnaround for political applications for committees, for committee activities is improved. Should consider strengthening, the 7th Parliament should consider strengthening its mandate of ensuring that it conducts public participation. In this instance, public participation refers to the public consultation of bills that are being processed by the committee. There is inconsistency in terms of the support that the institution provides to the committees. All units are expected to provide support to the committees during the public hearings, should be allowed to execute their duties and be always present. Okay, all units that are expected to provide support to the committees during public hearings should be allowed to execute their duties and always be present. Parliament should also have policies in place on issues relating to public participation. For instance, when the 4 people passed away during the public hearing, it became apparent that Parliament did not have clear policies to attend to incidents of that nature. G, conduct post-legislative scrutiny. The 7th Parliament should consider conducting post-legislative scrutiny on bills. This would entail requesting the DMRE to provide annual status reports on whether legislation had been implemented, and if not, to provide reasons for its delay and the plans and measures to correct this. H, referring petitions to the committee that deals, the 7th Parliament should consider referring petitions to the committee that deals with petitions irrespective of the sector. Currently, the Speaker receives petitions and refers them to the relevant main committee, which is our committee in this case, instead of referring this to the committee that is mandated to deal with petitions. It should be the discretion of the petitions committee that deals with, it should be the discretion of the committee that deals with petitions to refer a matter to the main committee, which is this committee, on the basis that the matter is beyond their scope or it requires intervention of the main committee, which is our committee. The issue there is that the petitions get sent to the committee, but there is a petitions committee that petitions should be directed to. It's an area that needs to be looked at, and this includes correspondences that the committee receives. So there's a lot of work around petition and correspondences that the committee receives. And then developing a mechanism on how to deal with correspondences received from the public. So we receive petitions and correspondences, and it becomes a lot of work for the committee to look into petitions when there's a committee that should deal with petitions. Thanks, that's the end of my section. Thanks, Al.
Thank you, Sibu. Thank you, Chair. So we'll proceed with the document, Chair. So 1, the introduction, the department and entities falling within the committee's portfolio. On 29 May in 2019, the President of South Africa, President Cyril Ramaphosa, announced a reconfigured executive, which merged the former Department of Mineral Resources with that of the Department of Energy, giving birth to a new department known as the Department of Mineral Resources and Energy. Going forward, both departments will be reporting as a single entity to the Portfolio Committee on Minerals and Energy. Mineral Resources and Energy. The merger was finalized in June 2020. And then we've just highlighted that the Department of Mineral Resources and Energy, the DMRE is mandated to ensure the transparent and efficient regulation of South Africa's mineral resources and minerals industry, and to secure and sustainable provision of energy in support of socio-economic development. The department executes its mandate through 11 entities as listed below. So then we've just listed the 11 entities, which include the National Nuclear Regulator, the South African Nuclear Energy Corporation, NECSA, the Central Energy Fund, CEF, the National Radioactive Waste Disposal Institute, NORWADI, the National Energy Regulator of South Africa, NERSA, the South African National Energy Development Institute, SANEDI, Council for Geoscience, CGS, State Diamond Trader, South African Diamond and Precious Metals Regulator, MINTEC, and the Mine Health and Safety Council. Then we move on to the functions of the committee. The mandate of Parliament is based on the provisions of the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa, establishing Parliament and setting out the functions it performs. Parliament's role and outcomes are to present the people and ensure government by the people under the Constitution. Such representation is put into operation by means of public representatives who represent the will of the people in the process of passing legislation, overseeing executive action, and the facilitation of public involvement, cooperative government, and international engagements. The rules of Parliament provides for the portfolio committees to process legislation, oversee the work of the corresponding department and associated institutions, make policy recommendations in the portfolio area on the basis of wider public consultation where necessary, engage the executive with respect to related international matters. Furthermore, Section 5 of the Money Bills Amend Procedure and Related Matters Act requires portfolio committees to annually assess the performance of each national department. A committee must submit a report of this assessment, known as the BRRR, the Budgetary Review and Recommendation Report. The overarching purpose of the BRRR is for the committee to make recommendations on the forward use of resources to address the implementation of policy priorities and services as these may require additional, reduced, or reconfigured resources for the department. Then we've also indicated in terms of Section 57, subsection 2 of the Constitution, with regard to the powers of committees, the Portfolio Committee on Mineral Resources and Energy exercises oversight over the DMRE and its 11 entities. It also oversees the implementation of all pieces of legislation administered by the DMRE and its entities, and will oversee recently enacted legislation in relation to this broad mandate. Then, the method of work of this committee. In terms of budgetary oversight, the Money Bills Amended Procedure sets out the process for Parliament to make recommendations to the Minister of Finance to amend the budget of a national department. In October of each year, portfolio committees must compile BRRRs that assess a department's service delivery performance, allocate the efficiency with respect to its financial, human, and capital resources, evaluate the effective and efficient use and forward allocation of resources, and make recommendations on the forward use of resources over the medium-term expenditure framework period. This committee, as members know, committee meetings were scheduled on Tuesdays and Fridays for 4 hours, 9 o'clock to 1 o'clock. Most of the committee meetings during the period under review were held virtual. However, physical meetings were also scheduled for the processing of the various pieces of legislation that were before the committee and briefings by the DMRE and its entities on annual reports during the BRRR processes. The committee endeavored to undertake at least one oversight visit per term. But as Sibu indicated earlier, at times this was quite difficult due to the parliamentary program. What is the purpose of this report? The purpose of this report is to provide an account of the Portfolio Committee on Mineral Resources and Energy's work during the 6th Parliament and to inform the members of the new Parliament of key outstanding issues pertaining to the oversight and legislative program of the Department of Mineral Resources and Energy and its entities. This report also provides an overview of the activities the committee undertook during the 6th Parliament, the outcome of key activities, as well as any chain challenges that emerged during the period under review, and issues that should be considered for follow-up during the 7th Parliament. It summarizes the key issues for follow-up and concludes with recommendations to strengthen operational and procedural processes to enhance the committee's oversight in legislative roles in future. Now, the next item deals with some of the key statistics. Overview of meetings held, legislation, international agreements processed, and the number of oversight visits undertaken, study tours undertaken by the committee, as well as statutory appointments the committee made, which we don't do during the 6th Parliament. So the table just highlights those various issues mentioned per financial year. I'm not going to elaborate on this one. So yeah. Some of the stakeholders identified: the Department of Mineral Resources and its entities. Key one, Department of Public Enterprises, National Treasury, Auditor General of South Africa, Department of Forestry, Fisheries and Environment, industry bodies, example, the Mining Council, various other national departments, labor unions, NGOs in both the mining and energy sectors, mining houses, and professional bodies. Then number 4 is just the meetings we had from 2 July at the start of the 6th Parliament, from 2 July 2019 up until, today's meeting. So this was basically just a cut and paste of all the meetings which the committee had. Up until today. Now, number 5, we move on to legislation. As Sivu indicated, 5 pieces of legislation was tabled for consideration in the report to this committee. The EMO, the Guest Amendment Bill in 21-22. The EMO was 2019-2020. The Upstream Petroleum Resources Development Bill 21-22. In 22-23, nothing was tabled, no legislation. In 23-24, the 2 pieces of legislation which we've just processed, finished processing this past Friday, the Electricity Regulation Amendment Bill and the National Nuclear Regulator Amendment Bill. Then, with regard to challenges experienced during the processing of legislation, technical operational challenges that may have delayed legislation and or complicated the processing thereof. 1, legislation being tabled late during the 6th Parliament by the Department of Mineral Resources and Energy, such as the ERA Amendment Bill and the NNR Amendment Bill. This meant that the committee had to abandon its planned activities and focus on these 2 pieces of legislation, which were referred to the committee as priority legislation. 2, the Parliamentary Legal Services lacks human resource capacity, as at times legal advisors supporting the committee would not attend the meeting due to commitments in other committees. This compromises the work of the committee in processing of bills. 3, the Parliamentary Public Education Unit and the poor management thereof resulted in delays in finalizing of the legislation before the committee, in particular the ERA Amendment Bill. The committee had to extend public hearings due to the fact that in 3 areas, the unit failed to mobilize and educate the public on the bill. 4, The late application approvals by the relevant division also resulted in delays in public hearings or oversight visits, study tours, etc. Content-related challenges. Poorly drafted legislation, for example, the Guest Amendment Bill that had to be withdrawn from Parliament, and then issues for follow-up. The 7th Parliament should consider following up on the following concerns that arose. A new company is being established by the UPRD bill, and the legislation establishing the company
Recording
is
in
being
progress.
valid. Therefore, it is important to monitor the legislation that is establishing the South African National Petroleum Company as the effective implementation of the Upstream Petroleum Resources Development Bill is dependent on this company being established. Oversight visits. In 2020, I think there was about 6 oversight visits undertaken during the 6th Parliament. I'll go straight to the challenges, be it content or technical. Challenges emerging. The following challenges emerged during the oversight visits: technical or operational challenges. 1, the constrained timeframes allocated to the committee to undertake oversight visits. 2, at times, poor logistical arrangements. 3, slow turnaround time of political applications and financial applications. 4, constant changes in the parliamentary program. Content-related challenges. For the better part of the period under review, the committee had no researcher for mineral resources and a content advisor for energy. This may have had a negative impact in terms of providing background information to the various delegations. Then, number 7, study tours undertaken. This was undertaken from 9 to 14 July 2023 to the UK. Challenges, technical or operational challenges. Slow turnaround of political applications and financial applications. Poor relations between Parliament and the Department of International Relations and Cooperation, DIRCO, when dealing with international study tour applications. 3, minimal staff complement accompanying the delegation on these study tours. Only 5 members of the committee attended the study tour to UK due to financial constraints as cited by Parliament. This was contrary to the committee's role of conducting effective oversight on international related matters, as this process excluded other political parties. Content-related challenges. The content advisor and the researcher did not form part of the delegation due to financial constraints. Therefore, the committee did not have content support during the study tour. Yanda will now take over, Chair.
Thank you, Ari. I'll take over from number 8 on the international agreements. The following international agreements were processed and reported on. On the 14th of November 2019, this is we received a referral on the European Atomic Energy Community Agreement. And sorry, Ari, can I just say, check the status? Sorry, members, I'll just report the date of referral, the name of the agreement, and I won't go through the objective and the status and the date of enforcement. The committee has dealt with that and adopted the report, and the date of enforcement is when approved by both the National Assembly and the National Council of Provinces. The second agreement, Chair and members, it was referred to the committee on the 18th of November 2020, which is the amendment to the Convention of Physical Protection of Nuclear Material. The committee dealt with the agreement and passed by the House. It will be enforced when approved by both the National Assembly and the National Council of Provinces. The second, the third one is on the 20th of April 2022, which is the revised African Regional Cooperative Agreement for Research, Development and Training related to Nuclear Science and Technology, which is AFRA Agreement. The committee has finalized this agreement and adopted the report, and it will be effected when approved by both the National Assembly and the National Council of Provinces. Those are the agreements that we received by the committee. These are the challenges that were emerged. Actually, there were no challenges encountered except that Parliament seems to play administrative role of considering and approving these international treaties and agreements. There is a need for Parliament to be involved during the early stages of these agreements before they are tabled in Parliament. This will ensure that the relevant committees are fully empowered on the impact of the treaties or agreement on South Africa. Number 9, going to statutory appointments. For period under review, which 2019 till today 2024, the committee did not make any statutory appointment. However, it is important to know that the Nuclear Energy Regulator Bill was recently adopted by the committee, which empowers the committee to make statutory appointments such as appointment of board members for the Nuclear Energy Regulator. Number 10, these are the interventions that were referred by to the committee by the Office of the Speaker. On the 22nd of August 2022, we received a correspondence from the South African Human Rights Commission, and the status thereof is that the SAHRC wrote to the committee chairperson on the 22nd August 2022, informing that chairperson and the committee that the commission had in 2015 have published a report on investigative hearings into issues and challenges related to the unregulated artisanal underground and surface mining activities in South Africa. According to this report, this report was relevant for the work that the committee had embarked on, the investigative oversight on illegal mining. In response to the request, the committee scheduled a meeting with SAHRC on 13 September 2022 to brief it on their 2015 report. We further received the correspondence from the AG's office on the 30th of March 2022, where they submitted the report through the Office of the Speaker on its follow-up performance audit at the Department of Mineral Resources and Energy on the rehabilitation of derelict and ownerless mines. Similarly to the SAHRC report, this report was relevant to the work that the committee was busy with, the oversight on illegal mining. A meeting with AXA was held on the 13th September 2022. Then OUTA were referred to us on the 31st of August 2022, where we received an email from the Office of the Speaker with the report attached from OUTA titled OUTA 2021 Report on Parliamentary Oversight in South Africa. The report assessed 9 portfolio committees, including Mineral Resources and Energy Committee. The report was addressed to the presiding officer of Parliament, chief whips, and the House chairperson responsible for committees. It was stated in the email that please bring it to the attention of your committee to deal with it in whatever way they deemed appropriate. In response to this, on the 30th of September 2022, the committee was briefed by OUTA on their 2021 report on parliamentary oversight in South Africa. The committee welcomed the report, although it did not agree with some of the findings by OUTA. In August 2022, while Parliament was on recess, the committee received a number of correspondence from the Speaker's office. Sorry, Ari, can you just go? Yeah, fine. Okay. One of the correspondence was from Makua, in which Makua was complaining about its petition that was not attended to the Portfolio Committee on Mineral Resources and Energy. Amongst other things, Makua threatened to issue a media statement and have some of its members camp in Parliament until their issues were attended to by Parliament. However, it was felt that it was necessary to hold committee management meeting with Makua prior to tabling its correspondence to the committee. The committee management met with Mr. Rutledge and 4 other leaders of Makua on 19th August 2022. The objectives of this meeting were twofold: to address and clear any misunderstanding between committee and Makua, and to build and mend the committee relationship with Makua. On the 23rd of August 2022, Makua correspondence was tabled and the committee resolved that Makua be invited to brief the committee on the 30th of on their 2022 social labor plans audit report on the views relating to the High Court outcomes of the mining charter and on illegal mining. In this meeting, and in relation to the poor relationship that the committee seemingly had with Makua, it's supposed to be Makua, thank you. An update was sent by the committee to the Office of the Speaker on the 11th of November 2022. Thank you, Ari, can you go? Okay, these are the challenges that were emerged during the processing of these interventions: technical or operational challenges. As stated above, the committee was overseeing 2 important economic sectors with only 2 days per week allocated to it. At times, it became too much for the committee to deal with many correspondences that were addressed to it. However, under the circumstances, the committee did its best to attend to the issues. And can we go to petitions, number 11? These are the following petitions that were referred to the committee by the Office of the Speaker. In August 2022, while Parliament was on recess, the committee received a number of correspondence from the Speaker Office and various platforms. One of the correspondence was from Makua, in which Makua was complaining. I think, Chair, we did raise this thing on the interventions, but wanted to give the current status of how far we went with Makua and Mauma in dealing with their issue. So I'll just read through the current status. One of the correspondence was from Makua, in which Makua was complaining about its petition that was not attended to by the Portfolio Committee of Mineral Resources and Energy. Amongst other things, Makua threatened to issue a media statement if some of its members came in Parliament until their issues were attended to by Parliament. However, it was felt that it is necessary to hold committee management meeting with Makua prior to tabling its correspondence to the committee. The committee management met with Mr. Rutledge and 4 other leaders of Makua on 19th August 2022. The objectives of these meetings were twofold: to address and clear any misunderstandings between the committee and Makua, and to build and mend the committee relation with Makua. Okay, on the 23rd August 2022, Makua correspondence was tabled and the committee resolved that Makua be invited to brief the committee on the 30th of August 2022 on their 2022 social labor plan audit report on their views relating to the High Court outcomes of the mining charter and on illegal mining. In this meeting and in relation to the poor relationship that the committee seemingly had with the Makua, an update was sent by the committee to the Office of the Speaker on the 11th of November, and again in April of November 2022, and again we sent the correspondence to the Speaker's office in April 2023. The second petition received, Chair, was from Honorable Dr. W. Boshoff, calling on the Assembly to investigate the SA energy crisis. And this petition was received on the 22nd of July 2022. A petition to investigate South African energy crisis was referred by the Speaker to the Committee for consideration and report. The petition was received by the committee on 22nd July 2022. In the same month, the chairperson of the Portfolio Committee on Public Enterprise received a correspondence from the Speaker stating that the Public Enterprise Committee, in collaboration with the Committee of Mineral Resources and Energy, prioritize the energy crisis with regards to load shedding and the impact thereof on South Africa. Can you go up, Ari? This was in response to a request made by Honorable N.S. Ngwangwa. The petition and the request from Honorable Ngwangwa were similar. It was therefore felt that the issue should be dealt with at the same time by the two committees. Then on the 7th of February 2022, we further received another petition from KwaNongqaba Development Forum and Petro SA. On the 7th February 2022, the Greater KwaNongqaba Development Forum, representing Greater Mossel Bay, non-governmental organization, not-for-profit organization, churches, and small, medium, and micro enterprises, wrote a petition to the Speaker requesting that the committee visit the community of KwaNongqaba in order to talk about challenges that are facing Petro SA and the impact thereof on the host communities. The committee undertook an oversight visit on 19th April 2022 to the Greater KwaNongqaba Development Forum and Petro SA in Mossel Bay. For the fairness and completeness of the purpose of the oversight visit, the committee invited the executive management of Petro SA to respond to the issues raised in the petition. Can you go up, Ari? Okay. The same challenges that emerge in the intervention.
Sorry, Ayanda. Sorry, Chair. Just a request quickly, Chair. The Krida, the printers, they are downstairs now. They're looking for Vuyo. If Vuyo is on the platform, please, Chair.
Yes, Ari, I'm with her here in Parliament. I will just relay the message so that you can quickly go downstairs.
Thanks, Bye.
Okay, sure. All right. Okay. When we go out to challenges that emerge, it's same as the interventions. The committee was overseeing two important economic sectors, which only 2 days per week allocated to it. However, the committee was able to process all petitions referred to it during period under review. Okay. And then number 12, when we go to obligation conferred on the committee by legislation. The Money Bills Procedure and Related Matters Amendment Act number 9 of 2009, mandates Parliament to develop the Budgetary Review and Recommendation Report, which we call it BRIM. The Act sets out the process that allows Parliament to make recommendations to the Minister of Finance to amend the budget of the National Department. The BRRR also acts as a source document for the Standing or Select Committee on Appropriation of Finance when they make recommendations to the House of Parliament on the Medium-Term Budgetary Policy Statement, MTPBS. The comprehensive review and analysis of the previous financial year's performance, as well as performance to date, form part of this process. A number of financial and non-financial recommendations were made by the committee to the Minister of Mineral Resources and Energy throughout the tenure of the 6th Parliament. Chair, with your permission, I will just, as stated there, the date of adoption and the recommendation. I won't read one by one each recommendation. So we split it. These are the recommendations from 2019 up until the last BRRR that we did, which was 2023. We just copy and paste those recommendations there. Okay. Summary of outstanding issues on the department that the committee has been grappling with. Am I still taking this, Ari, or Mashudu will take through this one?
Mashudu, Ayanda.
Thank you, members. Shudu, you can continue.
Okay, morning, honorable members. Thanks, Ayanda, and thanks, Ari. This section is repetitive of what is mentioned in the beginning in the executive summary. So I think, Chair, with your permission, if the honorable members would like me to repeat this aspect, because it touches on the outstanding issues and the recommendations which were mentioned by Sivu in the beginning, then I can repeat it, but it is repetitive because of the way that the template is structured. So with your guidance, you will let me know if you'd like me to repeat this aspect. Thank you.
I don't know to say you can repeat it or what, but if you feel it's a format issue, maybe if you are done, all of you, then allow me to go back to honorable members and get their sense of input. Honorable members. Let me see. I see the hand of Honorable Mylem. Is there any other hand?
Sorry, Chair, Lorimer here. I can't raise my hand. I'd also like to make a comment.
Okay.
Apologies, Chair.
Honorable Lorima. Honorable Malinga.
Apologies. No. Before you take hands, Chair, I request a moment. I'm not sure. Good morning. Yes, good morning to you, Chairperson, and members of the portfolio and everybody on the call. I'm not sure, Chairperson, what I did not get Ms. Masuta. What is wrong with this section so that we are all on board? I think my network dropped a bit when she was on the platform, because I see we are no longer reading this one. Thank you very much, Chair.
No, what is raising is that the same issues that were raised by Sivu at the beginning are the same issues that now are reflected on the section that she was dealing with. And therefore, she is of the view that she will just be repeating what has already been said in the meeting. So that's why we then gave the latitude to say, fine, if they feel like that, let me give to honorable members. Maybe honorable members may feel it is different. 1, 2, they may feel that there are gaps. But 3, they may also feel that there are issues that needs to be emphasized on.
Yeah.
Okay. I see the hand of Honorable Mashaul. I use your hand up, or Honorable Malinga, so that I don't forget you. I've got Honorable Mylem, I've got Honorable Lorima. Was your hand up in order to comment, or you just wanted to raise that issue before I go to Honorable Mashaul?
It is up, Chair.
Okay, after Honorable Lorima, it's going to be Honorable Malinga and then Honorable Mashaule. Is there any other member? Okay, Honorable Mylem.
Thank you, Chairperson. Chairperson, I've got several issues with the report that I wish to raise. The first relates to the National Solar Water Heater Program. I think that we've, to a certain extent, covered this, but I think we might have dropped the ball here as a committee. And I think we need to flag the National Solar Water Heater Program as something that needs ongoing monitoring and regular oversight to ensure that it is being rolled out effectively. And I think that needs to be captured in the recommendations going forward. The second issue, Chair, relates to the budgets and annual reports of entities. And we've really allowed, for example, the Central Energy Fund to get away with not tabling its reports and not presenting its APP. And I think we need to note that and make sure that there is greater accountability from these entities, that they then properly table their reports on time, that there is effective oversight over that, and that we are able to look at their plans and say, yes, we agree with this, or no, we don't agree with it. So I really think that we need to do a lot more to ensure that entities are held accountable and that they are called in to explain why they have not tabled their annual reports. And then if there is not a valid reason, that there are consequences for failure to table their annual reports. Chair, there's also several entities that have been, to a certain extent, ignored of late, particularly in the last 2 years or so. And they're the smaller entities. I'm talking the the SANEDIs, I'm talking about the diamond regulator, the and entities like that we've to a certain extent brushed over and not really conducted effective oversight over as a committee. Equally, Chair, I am concerned that there is a lack of follow-up on some issues. So, for example, the Lily Mine issue, the fuel prices issue, the solar water heater program issue, and the risk mitigation independent power producers procurement program issue, which we initially proposed an inquiry to in 2021, I think it was. My point, Chair, is that I think that we need to have a record as a committee of all of these issues when they are raised, and then on a regular basis, maybe on a quarterly basis, we go back and check whether or not we have concluded that satisfactorily, or whether further oversight and intervention is required from the committee. Just one example would be Lily Mine. I think it's something that we should go back to and see what progress has been made, whether there is any resolution of that matter, and so on and so forth. And I've mentioned some of the others. Lastly, Chair, two last items, Chair. This portfolio committee has, to a large extent, allowed the minister to get away with not attending portfolio committee meetings. And I'm concerned that this is becoming a norm rather than an exception. The minister has, I don't think he's attended any this year, and certainly his attendance has been sporadic over the past 5 years. And I think it's something that if we are truly to hold the executive accountable, which is the core mandate of the portfolio committee, then we need to ensure that the minister and or the deputy minister attends portfolio committees and answers for what their decisions are and what actions they are taking from an executive level. Lastly, Chairperson, I want to comment on the study tour, and I want to raise two issues here. One, I think that if there are study tours, they should happen earlier in the term. It doesn't really help to have a study tour in the last financial year of a parliamentary term, when many of the members, some of the members may not be coming back, may not be on the same portfolio. And so the learning from that study tour is then to a certain extent lost. Equally, Chair, I want to highlight the fact that this particular study tour was, it was a mad scramble to put together, and the planning left much to be desired, particularly in terms of where we should go, who we should meet with, and what we should discuss. And I think that there needs to be far more input into the planning process up front before it's even committed to, that we say, well, this is what we want to accomplish, this is who we want to meet with, this is what we want from each meeting, and this is when it should take place. Because it seemed to be very last minute rushed, and we were doing it for the sake of doing it rather than for a specific purpose or with specific outcomes in mind. So those are my inputs, Chair, and I think they should be captured in this legacy report. Thank you, Chair.
Chair, can I go ahead? I've really, in addition to that, just got two relatively minor issues with text. The first one on page 9 on illegal mining. There is the following statement: government response on illegal mining during this 6th administration was commendable despite the challenges that still exist. That is opinion rather than fact, and it's not an opinion that I share. So I'd like that sentence taken out. If you see where it is, it's 1.7 illegal mining, 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth line, halfway through the 5th line, there's a sentence there. I don't think it's necessary, and I don't think it's correct. My other issue with language was on page 14, top paragraph, page 14 in 1.11. So top paragraph there, line 4. However, in most instances, mining companies do not implement the SLPs. That's a big statement, and it would be a complete scandal if it were true. I don't know whether that's backed up by fact. I have, in fact, got a written question in on that at the moment and waiting for an answer. But I don't think it's correct to say that, and I think that that should also be removed, Chair. And that's it from me.
No, thank you very much, Chairperson. Greetings again to all members on the platform and our staff. Chairperson, let me welcome the legacy report by the committee staff and concur that it basically covers everything that we did as a portfolio committee from the time we started our work to date. Chair, I'm not sure where I'm at, my network keeps on dropping, or whether the issue of audit outcomes also by the AG, that is it covered on the report. I could not hear some of like I did not hear Ms. Masucha loudly or the last time when I checked with yourself, whether this report raised the issue of the outcomes that were not done on or timeously by the Auditor General, not only concentrating on the non-submission of entities, but also the blame, the apportioned blame that we put to the Auditor General for not. Also, Chair, I concur with what the report says on the late submission of legislations by the executive, because it had to take away some of the issues that we needed to deal with as the portfolio committee that was prior planned as the program, because we had to prioritize legislation that the honorable members who will be on this portfolio committee in the 7th Parliament, they need to request Parliament or executive through the office of the Speaker that legislation should be prioritized and be submitted to Parliament timeously. Chairperson, I think the report covers basically what we did as the portfolio committee. Lastly, Chair, on the study tour, Chairperson, I think we got what we went to the UK for, because the debate on the abandonment of the fossils, we were advised not to rush into doing that because it has to continue to be a base load, Chair. On illegal mining, Chairperson, I agree with the sentiments that more still needs to be done. But basically, the report covers everything that the portfolio did. Thank you very much, Chair.
Marshall. Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson, and greetings to everyone on the platform. Chair, in all honesty, the report is a very comprehensive and a good report. And I think we must commend our staff for producing such a comprehensive, detailed legacy report. From where I'm sitting, it will help those that are coming to this committee in the 7th administration to catch up very fast on what was done in the previous 5 years. Chair, most of the issues I wanted to raise have been covered by Honorable Milam as well as Honorable Malinga. I won't repeat them. I think some of them that are insertable to the report should find their way into the report so that they arm those that are coming to understand what challenges we have faced in the previous administration, as it were. What I don't agree with, Chair, is the submissions made by Honorable Lorima. Whether it's a big statement to say, however, in most instances, mining companies do not implement the SLPs, whether it's a big statement or a small statement, it is a statement that we have been faced with. And for it to be highlighted here is correct. even on the illegal mining. It is true that much resources have been directed to deal with the illegal mining. Whether we can quantify it or we can't. It is a fact that resources have been deployed there. So I don't agree with the removal of the 2 sentences. I just think that the points that have been made by Honorable Mylem and Malinga should find some accommodation in the report. Thank you very much, Chair.
All right. Is there any other hand? Is there any other hand? I don't know, Ari, should I put you on the spotlight or Mashudu or must I start? Just one thing, maybe let me start. I think let's agree, honorable members. I don't know, I thought to me there was emphasis on the issue of the solar water heater program that it has, and I think we all agree that it must be subjected to consistent oversight in terms of how it is implemented. I thought that the report was saying. On the issue of SEF, I want to request honorable members that remember SEF is on our program. And I think that's the point Honorable Malinga was raising. Just to remind members, sometime we wrote a letter for SEF to submit and table their annual financial outcomes. And the then DG wrote to the committee and said, if I'm not mistaken, there is Schedule 2 entities, and on those bases, they don't need to table to Parliament. It was this committee that said yes, and we got a legal opinion. They may be, but as entities that are accounting to this committee, they are always required, if the committee so deem it necessary, to submit, and we agreed to that. In the last time when we were dealing with the audit outcomes and the financial statements, the AG had not finalized those outcomes, and up until to date, as it is in our program, but we will give an account on that because they are still accountable to this portfolio committee. I don't want to create for me, and I'm not trying to say it is wrong, but I think this committee, one of the things it should be commended on is that it has never allowed things to just disappear like that. So we will discuss the issue of the financial statements and all the matters. By the way, it is not only limited to their annual financial statements and audit outcomes. It also includes other matters that have been raised, especially with regards to Petro SA, which are contractual issues that this committee has to receive attention on, but we will outline when we go there on that issue. But at this stage, the problem with the issue is also with regards to the AG. On the issue of small entities, I don't know, honorable members, my only fear is when we raise issue, I don't remember, except when we all agreed, and I must explain this thing, when we all agreed that because of this consistent thing, which the report talks to, of the PRRR process, that it's known fact, even now it's a known fact by September, October this year, there's going to be PRRR process. And we are always given a week or 2 weeks, and there is no other space. We have agreed in the past that instead of dealing with this, let's prioritize which things that we can deal with Some of those we can deal with them through the report of the department. I'm not denying what members may have perceived, but in my view, from where I'm sitting, for instance, there is no time where we have said, Sanetti, you should not come, or the state demonstrator, we should not come. We used to say, having the annual report in front of us, let's look at things that we'll want to raise. And if we raise them with the department, let's then say, if the department is not giving us satisfactory answers, we then take the issue on the basis of that to have accountability. But if members, then we feel that, no, we have allowed them to not to account because they are small entities. I don't remember the committee taking that. Let me come to the Lily Mine issue. The Lily Mine issue is technical, honorable members. I think Lily Mine, we have been there on many occasions. But one thing that we must acknowledge is that timeously, we have invited Lily Mine, the management, the directors, the DMRE, and the other contesting side. I just forget the name of, is it Mr. Arance? They made presentation. This committee adopted the report on Lily Mine, made recommendations. The National Assembly unanimously accepted the report, adopted the report. So it's a matter now of the National Assembly. The only time, and I can say maybe we should go and do a tracking, is that from time to time, Honorable Milam is correct. Maybe the way we're doing it, it was more of an inquiry at an incidental level. But the truth of the matter is that the matter now is outside the ambit of the committee, because the committee had made recommendations. For instance, some of those recommendations are far-reaching on the issue of what has to be done in Lily Mine. It's not only making reference to the department, it makes reference to government, what government must do. Two, it also makes reference to other departments, including, to be specific, the Department of Trade, Industry and Competition on the company's end. So some of the issues by monitoring is the big question will be, what happens when a portfolio committee has adopted, its recommendation are adopted by the National Assembly? Who has got, I'm not saying it may not have the responsibility, but who has got the primary responsibility between Parliament in ensuring that there is compliance with that, especially on broad terms, that may not only include the department accountable to us. On the issue, I think to us, the issues that we're highlighting are what the committee has dealt with. Honorable Madam, I don't want to lie. Let's agree at some point that we will disagree. We should not hide. We did have a discussion. There was a strong view that there must be a investigation that must be conducted. Initially based on what was in front of the courts and the recommendations that came from the legal team, there was an agreement that we must proceed and having to deal with this. Subsequent to the outcome of the court, there was a deliberation, a very extensive one. Two things emerged, was that whether that process was done in a proper and a legally fair manner. Secondly, with the alternative, whether the alternative choice of a source of energy was correct and the length of this thing. Members disagreed. I don't want us to hide it. Disagreed on the basis that the initial investigation was informed by the fact that there was prima facie case, which at the end of the day, the court had made a determination on. Whether that is, we still agree on it or we don't agree, I don't think for me it's a big issue. I think what this thing was capturing was that when the matter was dealt with and the committee has handled it, and yes, let's agree that there was a disagreement on how the issue should then be handled subsequent to the outcome. I don't want to go the issue of I can't agree more on the statutors. I think it's a fact, except one part, which is what the report tries to highlight. The question of consistent relations or good relations between international relations and Parliament. You are correct, that to and fro is that you needed to get a program that you received, approved by Parliament, having been received from the international relations. I think I tried to explain then what would have happened and why some of the things had to be done on the last minute, including the approval, by the way. But I think you are, honorable members, 100% correct. There is a need. And we can't deny also the fact that study tours must be done, probably even at the beginning, rather than even in the middle of it, at the beginning of the term, so that members can be much more informed. Yeah, I think some issues, I don't know whether the administration would want to come on those matters. Let me leave this one because I don't want to enter it. I take members that there is agreement about the issue of the minister. The issue of the fuel prices, honorable members, again, there is a report the committee that did, it tabled it in Parliament. That report also makes reference on what are the other issues that must be taken into consideration, including the question of taxes and levies, locating them in the appropriate space so that they don't form part of the basic fuel price. But there is a lot that, to me, there has been a lot of interaction with almost all stakeholders as reflected. So my overall summary is that the legacy report in the main has to reflect what the committee has been tasked with at hand. If it were then to start and provoke things that in the committee there's no agreement on, we will then have to go back and revisit those issues. I think we tried by all means to avoid where there has been no disagreement in the committee, but to highlight what is in the committee. Ari or Ayanda, I will come back to you, Honorable Marielem. I will come back to you, Honorable Marielem. Ari, Ayanda, Mashudu, and Sivu.
Okay, now come in.
Yes.
Not how you summarized. We have not. I think we have nothing. That's why you're quiet. There's nothing from our side to add, except that recommendations, issues that have been raised by the members that we can insert in the recommendations or challenges. We will do so. Thanks.
Okay. No other Honorable Mailem, I guess.
Chair, thank you. Chair, I just want to say that I'm not asking to rehash the arguments or anything like that. What I'm saying is that once the committee has made submitted a report or made recommendations or whatever, that we then track those reports for implementation purposes. In other words, I'm proposing that there be a recommendation that in the next Parliament, the committee needs to track the progress of its decisions. So I use the example of Lily Mine. We submitted a report, we made recommendations, but going forward, after that report is submitted, the committee should go back and check, have our recommendations been implemented? And that's what I'm saying is I don't think we once we submit a report, it seems like we wash our hands of the situation. And I think that there needs to be a more consistent follow-up to make sure that what we're recommending, what is adopted by the NA, etc., is actually being implemented. And it's, I used the other examples. I used the fuel prices, which we submitted a report on. I used the National Solar Water Heater Program, which we submitted a report on, etc. But there are a number of those things that we should be tracking the implementation of our decisions. And that's my proposal, Chair.
Okay, I think that's understandable. Is there any other matter, honorable members? Going one, going two, going three. Okay. Is there any mover of the legacy report?
Chairperson.
Honorable Masaule.
I move for the adoption of the report with the proposed amendments.
Thank you very much. Any seconder?
I second, Chair.
Thank you very much. Must I check if there's an objection? Going one, Going 2, going 3. Okay. Thank you very much, honorable members. Can we then go to the next item, which is the outstanding set of minutes? Yes, Ari, we see that attendance. Honorable members, please make
Sorry,
sure.
Chair, I think it's the wrong one.
Eh?
I think that was the wrong one.
Please make it a point, honorable members, that you check the attendance, whether your name reflects, or because what then gets, what do you call it? My committee secretary, is it not 86, ne? But what is kept on the records will be what the committee would have agreed or adopted in its meeting. Let's go past that number 1. Number 2, that is number 1. Yes, continue. Okay. Any mover?
Chair, I move the adoption.
Thank you very much, Honorable Mailem. Any seconder?
Good morning, Chair and honorable members. I second the adoption of the minutes. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Makeke. Any matters arising? Okay, going 1, going 2. Okay. Next, Ari.
Now you'll have to wait for me, Chair. Where are we now?
We only just dealt with 1.
There, yeah. No, I need to go and get them, Chair, because I can't open all of them at once. Chair, these meetings from, sorry, Chair, the meetings from 21 February up until 5 March, their content is the same, Chair. Where we dealt with the deliberations on either the electricity regulation amendment bill or the continuation of deliberations on the National Nuclear Regulator Act. As I say, the content is the same up until the meetings of the 5th of March, Chair. So I don't know if members or you want me to flight each and every meeting, or we adopt it as set, Chair, up until 5 March.
I must be guided. You must guide us. Can we adopt all of them? I'll assume there are 2 options they are having. Is to deal with all of them and see whether are there any matters arising when we are dealt with all of them. 1. 2 is either we deal with the minutes that relates to the era and we adopt if from the first and to the last day. We have already dealt with the first one, but we can deal with the rest that is left on the era. And then we check if there are any matters arising on the era. And then we accept the ones of the 8th, let me say so.
Correct, correct. Yes.
Saying. So can we, and then we deal with the NNR, and then we deal with the minutes of the 8th, both of them, but separately.
The minutes are separated, Chair. Like for example, on the 22nd, we dealt with the era and the NNR. So the minutes, it's separate minutes, Chair, for the era and then for the NNR. Yeah.
Yes, I'm saying, can we deal with the era and start from, we have already dealt with one part of it. Can we deal with the era up until, is it the 5th?
Yeah, so it's the following minutes, Chair. So for the era, it's 21 February. It's 22 February.
Yeah.
It's 27 February. It's 28 February and the 1st of March, and then the 5th of March, Chair.
Okay. Is there any move of those minutes of on the ERA bill, honorable members?
Yeah, I move for the adoption of the minutes with the contents as described, Chair.
Thank you very much. Is there any seconder?
Chair, I second.
Thank you very much. I won't ask for matters arising because those were just deliberations. On the NNR?
The following dates, Chair. On the 22nd, this is for February, 22, 27, 28, and 5 March, Chair.
Thank you very much. Is there any move of the minutes collectively on the NNR bill? Honorable Makeke?
Morning again, Chair. I move for the adoption of the minutes as a true reflection of what transpired in those meetings. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Honorable members, any seconder?
Seconded, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Malinga. Honorable members, now can we go to the minutes of the 8th? Going one.
Oh no, sorry, Chair.
Yes, that's 8 on the Iran, eh?
That's correct, Chair.
Yes, honorable members. Going one, going two, going three, going four, going five. Okay. Honorable members, is there any move of the minutes?
Chair, I move for the adoption of the minutes.
Thank you very much. Is there any seconder?
I second, Chair.
Thank you very much. Is there any matters arising? Going one. Going two. Going three. Okay, agreed to. Minutes on the NNR. NNR for us in KZN is a number plate. Ari? We seem to have lost Ari.
No, Chair, not at all. Sorry, Chair. No, I was lost here for a moment, Chair.
I was worried maybe it's me who's lost.
No, not at all, Chair. It was me. There we go, Chair.
Okay. Yes, honorable members, is there any mover of the minutes of the NNR?
Chairperson, I move for the adoption of the minutes as a true reflection. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there any seconder?
I second, Chair.
Thank you very much. Ari, the last item, I don't know whether I'm putting it correctly.
It was the announcement, Chair.
Yes. You want to do it, or must I do it?
You must do it, Chair. You and Ayanda. You and Ayanda, Chair.
No, honorable
You
members.
can start, Chair. I'll add.
Honorable members, you will recall that this committee raised a concern about the lack of speedy finalization of the outcomes of the entities, especially of SAF, and including NEXA, but also in light of the issues that honorable members also have raised concern about. For instance, we're wrapping up this term of office. There are still the outstanding issues of the measures of the three entities. There have been issues of consent with matters that relate to trade in SAF, and quite a number of issues. But the key issue is that the audit outcomes have not been out at SAF. I hope up until to date. We have then initially were scheduled that we will take our meeting next week, Tuesday, to invite the AG to take us what is the problem, because where we are sitting now, we are almost on the next financial year. By May, they should be giving the audit results of 2023-2024. We still have got the outstanding audit results of 2022-2023. And we have not been able to get clarity. And the committee is wrapping up now everything. It doesn't have, there's no opportunity for the next. So we had invited the AG, we're inviting so that they can share with us where and what is the problem, because it doesn't look good. That's point one. Two, we also inviting SAF so that we can get an update on the current state of affairs in the entity. Let me use that word generally. Then we had planned, as I said, to do this next week. Then we've realized next week there is plenary. And meaning, is it plenary? Yes, plenary. Wednesday was open, therefore we've made an application that we meet on Wednesday with AG and SAF, and we will deal with the practicalities, but we are of the view that until SAF also responds on AG, the AG must be part of that meeting until we finalize the issues that relates to their audit outcomes. We then requested that we must also make an application for the 26th, just in case we don't finish or exhaust. We know that one of the entities that has been very, I don't want to say exhausting, but very intense is the Central Energy Fund. So we made a provision that we meet with the AG and SAF next week, 20th, I think I'm correct, and then meet on the 26th, the following week, which will be the last day and the last moment. After that, this committee will cease to exist, to the best of my knowledge. I don't know, Anna, whether I've put it in a proper way.
Yes, Chair, you did put it in a proper way.
Okay.
Okay. No, Chair, I was saying, yeah, you did put it in a proper way. I just received an approval now from the Office of the House Chair for both the 20th and the 26th, as we cannot sit on the 19th due to plenary. So the next meeting will be next week on the 20th with AG and SAF. Thank you, Chair.
Okay. Is there anything that honourable members wants to have?
Sorry, Chair, Rico, yeah. Ayanda is just confirmed physical or virtual?
It's physical.
Oh, sorry. Physical, Ari. I'm with Sis Mandi now with the venue. I'll confirm the venue later.
Any take, honorable members, although it's an announcement? Okay, going 1, going 2, going 3, that's okay. In essence, if we finish and exhaust everything on the 20th, it will mean that the 26th fall aside. On that note, honorable members, thank you very much. See you when we are meeting. We will do our level best when we are meeting next week. Thank you very much. The meeting stands adjourned.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Chair.
Thanks, Chair.